Thank you for having us on the AMS Live. I have Jack Yu, Hall of Fame producer, with us, David Allen, Hall of Fame producer, first year with us, and Albert Lau, who he's a big manager, but we call him the annuity specialist on our team. He's helped a lot of people get business pushed through. Thank you guys for joining us, by the way.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. What we're going to do is Jack, how many appointments do you think you've been on?
25 a week consistently for 6 years.
Okay. And so that's like 6,000 appointments or something?
6 years, it's like 7,300 appointments.
7,300 appointments. How much business have you written collectively?
Over 2 million.
Just in life premium?
No, not the premium in the
in annuities?
Last year, yeah.
In annuities alone?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're finding these off of regular leads. You're booking an appointment to go back and see them?
Yeah.
Okay. And David, how long have you been with Family First Life?
About 8 months now.
How much annuity business have you written?
Cumulatively, I'm over 5 million issue paid.
Nice. And then Albert, how many people have you helped that have no annuity experience get an application through and then get paid on it?
Probably 20 or so now.
20 or so? Yeah. Awesome. So we had 13 apps this week, annuity applications, new agents that went out, followed what we're going to go over right now, super simple, and actually wrote an application. Jack, we're going to start with you. Walk us through a regular appointment and how you identify money and then what you do to set up a time to come back.
Right. So for me as a new agent, it was very important that I planted the seed early. So not knowing how to navigate through a presentation was fine because we have this financial inventory sheet that I like to bring on appointments, and they're readily available. You can print them out and bring them with you. And as I'm introducing the company, I say, hey, we're Family First Life. We help families protect their final expenses. We do every type of life insurance, but we specialize in safe money retirement. So that is right here where you have all the carriers. It basically points to these 3 bullet points right here. So straight out the gate, we're here to talk about final expense, or mortgage protection, or Medicare. That's what we're here for. Of course, we do every type of life insurance, so we want to make it clear that these are all forms of life insurance and protection, so that there's no ambiguity. And then I want to plant the seed and say, but we specialize in safe money retirement. So early on, they know that when this starts, the appointment starts, at the end we shift, then it makes perfect sense because that's our specialty.
Okay, so you mentioned that in the beginning. You go through the appointment. Right. How do you identify if they have any money?
Right, so if you look at here at the second page of the inventory sheet, it actually has it right here towards the bottom, and the verbiage I like to use is, John and Mary, do you have anything else in place to offset the mortgage or protect each other, like a life insurance or a IRA retirement savings 401k? And then it literally says it right here, 401k, IRA, stocks, bonds, or mutual funds.
Okay, so I'm going to say, yeah, we have mutual funds.
Great. So at that point, as I would with their life insurance, I'm going to start inventorying that.
So you just make a note?
Yeah. You simply take a note, say, okay, so you've got mutual funds, Andrew, how much is that? And you've got a 401k, how much roughly is in there? Just roughly. Because they're going to start thinking like, just roughly. And then you take that down, and then you do the same for the wife, Mary. How much do you have in your IRA? Do you have any CDs? Okay, just roughly how much? And you take a note. So there you have your ammunition.
Okay, I got a question. Do you talk about annuities right then and there?
No, you definitely don't want to do that.
Have you ever done that?
I did that a lot in the beginning.
Me too. And what happens?
Because, they get sidetracked. And I get sidetracked because I get so excited. I hear, oh, you've got $700,000 in the 401k, and your eyes light up, and then suddenly you have commission breath, and it doesn't go over well.
So what I always say is, they truly need to think about it if you give them too many information on too many products, and you'll leave with nothing.
Right. So keep in mind, we're here to perform a function, a service. We're here to help them with family protection in the form of final expense, mortgage protection, life insurance, and that's what we're here to do. So stay the course, continue the presentation and sharing with them the added value of why they need this protection so much, and then put it in your back pocket. And then, as I'm about to close, and we've taken care of the family with the application, the e-app, we've gotten the banking, we've been approved on the spot. Then it's time to do the crossover. And when I do that, they've already spent an hour with me. I don't want to tidal wave sale it, because they've reached their threshold for attention span, and they're like, okay, that was good. See you later. So now it's important that I double back. So for me, it was really hard to remember, because I get excited. We made the sale, we helped the family, and we're all thanking each other and about to say goodbye. I would walk out without touching base on it. So what I did to help me was just have some visual aids. I have brochures that come from our carrier, Athene, and other carriers. And this, I'm not very big on brochures, but I think that this is their life savings. And our goal is to book a meeting from a meeting, is to get back in there a week from today, on their next day off, same time next week, same time. And then that gives us the time to go expand upon our knowledge of what we're going to share with these people. But just giving them something beautiful that can, get their attention. They're looking at it. They're excited.
And what do you
about it.
say?
I say, okay, great. Andrew, you mentioned that you had this 401k with this company for so many years of this amount, and in fact, before I let you go, so we're doing a little takeaway. I'm not going to do it right here. I've got to run real quick, but I wanted to make sure before I go, I just shared this with you. Again, our specialty is safe money retirement. So in America, most of our traditional retirement vehicles are what you call variable. That just means when the market goes up, you can make money. But if the market goes down, and then you fill in the blanks, right, you can lose money. So there comes a time in most of my family's portfolios when it makes sense to move some of it somewhere safe. So that's why we offer these. They're 100% safe, and they have a decent rate of return. So then I can keep it as simple as that, or I could go into a few more points about it, but I keep it real short and sweet. And again, I've got to go right now. So what I'd like to do is get a copy of your statement and run you an illustration and get back with you, next week, same time? 2 o'clock? Okay, great. And then you book the appointment. I write down the appointment and their telephone number, my telephone number on the contact. On this, I get my business card so they can see it real big next Tuesday, 2 o'clock, and I leave it with them. So now we've booked a meeting, which is called a BAM family. We booked a meeting from a meeting. So that gives us a week or time to get back to our base and ask a specialist and figure out what's the best way to bring them protection for their retirement savings.
That's pretty good. And do they usually say come back?
Yeah. I mean, you figure.
What's the words you use to say, I'm coming back for an appointment?
Right. So I'll say, hey, look, I'd like to posture it as if like I'm really busy. So I like, perfect, it was great helping you today. I've got to go right now. But again, what I'd like to do is share with you, our specialty, which is safe money retirement. I put the brochure in front of them, so I have them in my bag, so I make sure I don't walk out without asking, and I'll say, hey, look, let's do this. I share a couple words with how it's 100% safe. You can't lose any money. There's no fees, and they have a decent rate of return. Keep it real simple. And then I'd say, look, I'd like to get you an illustration and show you a little bit more about what most of my families are doing and put some of their money somewhere safe. And then I'll say, how about I'll get back with you next week, same time, Tuesday at around 2 o'clock. And then we actually just
Pencil it in, and they say, okay.
Yeah.
Do you ask them for a statement?
Yeah, I like to ask them for a statement.
How do you do that without them?
Well, I mean, again, if you don't, asking is receiving. If you ask, you'll receive.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. At first, I thought it
If
was
you don't
really
ask,
weird.
you don't get.
If you don't ask, you don't receive. Right? Exactly. So that was really a turning point for me. If I thought it was weird, they definitely think it's weird. People are very intuitive. They can feel you, So
Yeah.
they know.
They can, man. Like, it's weird how much somebody can feel the way you're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. So you just, treat it as if it's a natural part of our service to them,
Which it is.
which it is. Same thing with their current life insurance.
Okay, so to say it to, what do you say?
Okay.
Go grab a statement. I'm going to do some homework and
Yeah.
come back. What do you say?
Yeah, I'd love to bring you back an illustration that shows you how you can protect your money while saving on fees and have a decent rate of return. What I'd like to do is get a copy of your statement real quick, and then we'll book you for next Tuesday at the same time, 2 o'clock. Okay, and I've already done that up front with the current life insurance. So the inventory sheet asks, for your life insurance and other things to offset the mortgage or protect each other, or that, like that, the other things you may have in place. So I do ask them during the appointment to go get their life insurance. And that was a skill set that took me some time, until I felt comfortable asking, and I didn't feel, as if it was like too invasive. Because again, if you think it's weird, they think it's weird.
Yeah, and financial inventories are a part of any business if you think about it. If you go to the doctor, what do?
Yeah.
They say, what medications do you have? What's your family history? What's this? So they can properly help you. If you go into an appointment and you don't do the full financial inventory, that is like going to the doctor not knowing anything about you and then diagnosing you and prescribing you something you can be allergic to or whatever, something that could potentially harm you. So I think people are used to financial inventories anyways. That's the way things are done. So if we go into the home, you do that, you identify the money. Now this is the big point I want to make. You don't have to know a lot about annuities to do what you just did. The only information you gave was that it was safe, that people, they can't lose any money and they can get a fair rate of return, and you handed them a brochure, right?
That's it.
So someone doesn't need to be an expert to book an annuity appointment, right? So that's when like the light bulb turned on for me. I go, whoa, I don't have to be an expert yet, because I'm going to go on these appointments and I'm going to prepare for them and get help before I go. And then I'm going to learn as I go. So, and then I started thinking, if I do 15 annuity appointments a month, then who cares if I sell one, right? You don't have to sell every single one of them. It's an opportunity for you to show somebody something. So for me, I started to do this thing where every 10 appointments, I should book an annuity 3 annuity appointments from every 10 appointments I go on. And every week I'd go, am I tracking it? And sometimes I wouldn't be thinking about annuities. I wouldn't bring it up, and I would have 0 annuity appointments the next week. Then when I'd be thinking about it all the time, I'd bring it up. I'd have annuity appointments the next week. So we're going to get into Dave. Now we're going to go from Jack, okay, where you identified the money, you booked the appointment, to David Allen, to preparing for an appointment as a new agent. What do you need to go into the home, and what do you say when you get into the home to do annuities?
Well, what I do is, and I do everything just like Jack does, but I add a couple of things. Number one, I like to edify them on what they've saved, because
That's so good, dude.
to me, it's huge, because the average American, by the time they get even remotely close to being able to stop working, and I don't even use the word retire, because most people can't retire. They just have either saved to be able to stop working or they haven't. So when I ask, how much do you have? I might actually throw out, have you saved 30,000? Have you saved 40,000? I want them to feel really good about coming back and saying, no, you know what, David, I've saved 400,000 or even 100,000. I don't care what the number is, but the very next thing I'm going to do is actually edify them. You know what, that's really great, because you've actually beat the national average. Did you guys know that? And I let them know that $30,000 is an actual study that's been done that says this is what most people have, and you're actually ahead of the game. And then
That's gold.
To me, it's been gold, and I think others can actually use that. But what I like to do is I like to do things like read the internet and just know what's going on in the world, so that I can talk about things that are very common knowledge that they're also reading, because now you can take a concept, which is their money and their savings, which a lot of people are really nervous about relaxing and just talking to us or anybody else about. And now they can have a conversation because they know that we're just human people that are here to help for that also, because that's our specialization. Then I just start to actually talk about the fact that, you know, the market can go up, the market can go down. We have the ability to potentially show you things that are guaranteed not to lose. And would it be interesting to find out if that might actually work to make sure that you're going to have this money when you need it? Because I want to pose everything as a question that they're going to come back with a yes. Every yes I get is what I call a soft close, an ability for them to buy into the thought that we actually can do more than just resolve a mortgage lead or a Facebook lead or whatever other reason we're in the home for. And I cover things like fees. I ask them simple questions like, when it's time to stop working, when
Hold
you
on,
slow
hold on.
down.
Is this at the first appointment?
This is at the first appointment on the where Jack talks about handing out a brochure. My
Okay,
three,
but for a new person,
Mm-hmm.
they can get by with what Jack did.
they can absolutely get by with what Jack did.
Okay.
Okay,
Now you can add this as you get good.
you can add this even as you're not good. You can start to add little pieces.
Yeah.
Because it helps to build the rapport with the client, so they know that we're humble, and we're human, and that we really are just to help in any way, shape, or form that we can. So I want to sell on the concept that we might be able to help. Here's a brochure that explains a little bit of what I'm saying. I need to grab your statement from you so I can actually go to the research to see if we can help. And then let's set an appointment to come back. And the only thing we're going to need on the follow-up appointment, if you like what we're doing, is your driver's license. Because these companies need to approve you as a new client, just like
So
the
you're
insurance
trial
company
closing
did.
them right at the very beginning
To me, it's not even a trial close. To me, I'm closing on the front
before
end
you come back.
before I come back. So they know when I come back, if you like it, I need a driver's license. We can prepare an app, and the annuity company needs to say yes to taking you on as a new client. No different than a life insurance company needs to say yes, we're willing to provide you insurance. Same concept, except you're not having to do the medical underwriting. They just want to make sure you're a living, breathing person, and your driver's license does that. So if I've done it right on the front end, when I walk back in, they might have looked up some things on the internet because they've got the brochure, but probably 90% of the time, the driver's license is already sitting out on the kitchen table for me. So I know if I'm even remotely doing a little better, I'm writing an app.
If there's a driver's license, there's an app.
There's an app every time. Unless I just, really vomit out a bunch of really bad information, which we're going to try not to do, there's going to be an app if that driver's license is out.
Okay. So you go back to this next appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So we went through the booking another appointment. We can do it a simple way. As you get good, you can add these other things. You can add these trial closes, right? Yep. But what do you actually do in that appointment before you get an app?
What I do is I start with the hellos. I give them a 30-second, how have things been since
Do you have
last
an
week when we met.
illustration?
I have an illustration.
Okay. How can a new agent get an illustration?
A new agent can get an illustration by reaching out to Albert. They can go to Ask a Specialist.
They can
They
call
can call their
Athene.
upline. They can call Athene. And whenever they reach out and do those things, they can also immediately go into training mode, because we're all going to spend some time with these new agents to say, this is how it works. And
See, I learned the most by just calling Athene, and I told them what the customer wanted, and they explained the products to me, and then they taught me how to run the illustration, and then I could do it myself from then on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I actually had an email with Athene just last night over a question a client had from last week, and they were really, really quick to get back and resolve the question. And now I can go back and, close that one out next week, because to me, it was a minor question, but obviously every question to a client's going to be really important. They're not going to say yes unless they really feel good about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But any agent can reach out directly to the carrier or to any of the resources we have here to be able to learn about those products. And they're also going to understand how to talk about these products when we get back into the home. So I will have an illustration with me, but I actually don't show them that first. I take the illustration, I take their statement, and I actually prepare a single sheet of paper comparing all of the main points: market risk versus no risk, fees versus reduced fees, legacy and income,
Can you share an example of that?
by way of how I talk about it.
No. Do you have an example of that sheet? Oh, you just draw it right there.
Well, I draw it on the front end, but I actually type it out like in an Excel format,
So
and I bring it with me and it's printed out.
can you give us an example of like what you do there?
What I say.
No, that sheet.
I'm not understanding what you're asking me, Andrew.
Like the sheet you type out before you go?
Yeah, I can bring
Comparing?
one up. Yeah, I can get one.
Can
to
you make an example of that?
Yeah, we can
That'd be
do
cool
that.
to go over.
Yeah, we can do that. So when I show them that sheet, it just lists out where they're at versus safe money retirement system. That's the two headings I've got. And then underneath, I'll talk about the fact that, for example, maybe this client had their money at Fidelity, for example, and it can be anywhere. But we'll talk about the fact that it's at market risk. You know the market's going to go up. You know the market's going to go down. We're going to show you for the Safe Money Retirement System a product from a company by the name of Athene. That's the brochure we left with you last week. And it's guaranteed not to lose money. And it's guaranteed by the federal government. It's guaranteed by the state that we're writing the business in. And the company, Athene, is going to follow suit and run those guarantees for you as well. So I've got 3 wins on the no loss versus they got market risk.
So I could technically draw this out on a piece of paper with a T,
Yep,
right?
with a T.
I can go pros of Athene or Athene versus current plan.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And that's how I generally do it on the front end, but I actually type it out and bring it with me so it looks like it's part of that illustration.
Okay.
Because when I'm done, I can leave that with them. The next thing, whether it's handwritten or typed out, would be, here's what you're actually paying in fees between the mutual fees that are not disclosed and the actual fees that your current existing broker is charging you.
How do you find that?
You can go online and you can look up you can look up a mutual
Any
fund.
mutual fund, it'll
Any
tell you
mutual
what the
fund.
fees are. You can
Yep.
print them out. It's
You
all
can
public.
It's all public. And then in addition to that, their statement's going to show what they're being charged for the fees by their broker, by that firm for the assets.
Do you
under
ever
management.
call the company that it's currently with and have the customer call and ask what the fees are?
I've never had that. No. They're basically assuming since we're coming back and we've got that prepared that we've done that research. By comparison, I show them this product has a 1% fee, or if it's the Agility, for example, it has no fees and it's guaranteed for the life of the contract. I'll then ask the question, when you start to draw money, do you need to draw it from this account, or do you just want to protect it for legacy purposes for future generations, or do you need both? Because your current account can't do that, but the product we're representing will do all 3 of those, whichever one you need when you need it. And then we'll talk about the fact that your money is going to run out versus it won't run out. And then when they say yes, we can pivot right into doing the app because the driver's license is there. I will leave that sheet with them with the illustration, but then I tell them right at that point, and everything we've talked about regarding the Athene product, I've gone through this illustration. I've highlighted everything in there that I've typed out for you so you can see all those major points. The rest of it is a lot of their legal information. And I try to have a little bit of fun right now because they know they're going to need 5 or 10 minutes to do an app. So I kind of get them to relax a little bit. So I'll say something like, you know, it's legal. So if you have insomnia one night, feel free to bring this out because it'll put you right to sleep unless you really like to read that stuff. Otherwise, just give me a buzz and we can work through that together. Is that fair? And they smile and they laugh a little bit, and I just open up my laptop and I take care of a nap.
Easy.
Easy peasy.
Now, if a new agent books an appointment, because when I was brand new, I would book the appointment and then I would call Sean Ruggiero and I would ask him what I should do and he would help me, right? Now, Family First Life, and he would prepare me and go, well, this is the selling points and these are, you know, this is the cool thing about the illustration or whatever it is. Now with Family First Life, a lot of agents are helping each other. So they're and what they're doing, because agents' time is valuable, is sometimes they'll do a commission split if you help an agent, right?
Yes.
If you do all this work for them and you help them get a commission, then there's a small commission split to compensate another agent, which incentivizes agents to help each other,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
So a new agent could technically book an appointment and only know that you can't lose money in annuities. They can book it for next week. They can get help from somebody, get an illustration, and then go back and present that plan to that customer and make a sale.
Yes.
which is pretty crazy.
It's very crazy. And I actually, when I first started here, I called Jack on my first few annuities and said, okay, I don't know these carriers yet because I didn't use them in the prior company. Like Athene, for example, we weren't even allowed to use them in my last company, which to me is ridiculous with the quality of their products. But that's a different story. But I would call Jack and say, what do I do? And, how can I get this going? And Jack would help me, or Jack actually moved me over to Sean on a couple of them. And, everybody's been massively gracious with me and humble about helping me to get started. And I just feel the only right thing for me to do is to give it back and do the same thing. And I actually tell a lot of people to call Albert.
Yeah. Now, you recently helped Alondra, who's 22 years old,
Just turned 22,
just turned 22
like last week.
She has no crazy education on annuities, right?
None whatsoever.
She booked these appointments. You helped her with some illustration stuff. She went out and she helped a customer with annuity and got a $15,000 paycheck.
Right. Her first two annuities that I helped her with, she asked me to go back out in the field because she wanted to see me close.
Yeah.
Once she got through those, her next two or three that she's now closed, she's been able to do it herself. But we would talk on the phone.
Now,
and we'd
somebody
go over
doesn't
it.
have to have someone go with them, but they can if that opportunity is available. What I don't want is people to think if there's not someone like David Allen that is near them, they can't sell annuities.
Correct.
So they can get prepared. I've never had anyone go in the field with me to sell annuities.
Right. And they can also do things just like we do on the lead flow where we're calling a senior underwriter. There are plenty of people that will call Jack or call you or call Albert or myself or Sean from the field on the close because they get a couple of questions they're not exactly sure how to answer. So they'll call and say, hey, Andrew, it's David. I'm out here working on this annuity, and it's my second appointment, and the client's got a couple of questions that I think you would be better at explaining than me because I don't really know exactly how that works. Can I put you on speakerphone? Yeah. And I've just very simply said, no problem, and they tell me who they are, and I build a little bit and then just help to get the answers out to them, and then I can get off the phone as quick as I can and let that agent go out and write an app.
What's your favorite Athene product?
I'm really a big fan of Agility for all the reasons that it's good, and I really like the fact that it's got that life insurance kick.
Sell me an Agility right now.
The Agility as a product, what I think is really exciting for people that are looking for some things is it guarantees that you have no fees versus whatever you've paid. You've got the ability to accumulate money, maybe not as strong as what the market might give you, but since you're never going to lose a dime of any dollar you put into the program, over time, historically speaking, we can show that it's going to be a more stronger growth product for you. But what's really nice for somebody that, let's say, for example, an insurance product was not a good fit for you for whatever reason, we've got the ability with the income stream that if the benefit, or what I'll call with the client because they understand it a little better, the pension side, if it's a stronger balance than your actual cash, Athene is willing to pay that out to you, not as a lump sum, but they'll give it to you over 5 years. So for example, Andrew, if you had $200,000 and it grew over the next 15 years to $300,000 and your benefit bonus or pension balance was $500,000 and you passed away, the conversation I will actually have with your wife or your heirs, whoever would be surviving you, would be you can have the $300,000 right now, or you can take the $500,000 over 5 years in 5 equal pays. And it's like a $200,000 free bonus for your beneficiaries if that's important to them. Mm-hmm. And it's their choice. They can do what they want. But Athene's got this ability, and it's been approved, where they're allowed to give that free money back. And it's been a massively strong seller and closing point for that particular product for us.
That's awesome. Cool. All right, Albert. So we get to the point where somebody submits business. First of all, let's talk about how you've helped people over the phone.
Okay.
And you've never been on an appointment with someone. So how have you been able to help them prepare an illustration and then help them over the phone when they're with the customer?
Well, I guess it all kind of depends on where they are at first. So a lot of times I have people reach out to me. You created this position for me to help a few more agents, people that haven't done annuity before, the people that just want to get started. I created this post that helps people get the check all the background stuff first. Make sure they're contracted because that's important. Make sure that they've taken care of the state training if they have state training in their state. Make sure they've taken care of their annuity, their product training with Athene or whichever carrier we're using. Make sure that's all out the way first, because you don't want to
That's
just go
good.
in, start writing, and then, oh, by the way, you can't do this, and it gets kicked back to you.
Yeah, that's good.
So, that's the first conversation I'll have with them. If they say, I already took care of all that, good, we're ready to go. If they haven't, I'll tag them onto my post. We have it on our Facebook group. So just try to make that information readily accessible with all the links, with all the information, all the details. But once they get to that point where they've uncovered the money, they've picked up a statement, they'll reach out to me and they'll say like, hey, how do I get started? How do I do anything here? And then the first thing I ask is, of course, I want to be respectful to all the other VPs and all the other builders in the team. I tell them, if you created this position for our group, but if anyone reaches out, which I've had a few people reach out from other teams, I always ask, who's your upline first?
Yeah, check with your upline
Yeah,
first.
because I want to respect everybody. And,
Yes, and a lot of teams have good annuity producers
Absolutely.
that can help their team. So this is something we do,
Right.
But I think other people do, and it's very helpful with each individual team.
Yeah. Yes. So sometimes people will come and they'll say, oh, so-and-so is my upline. And I'll say, well, you should go ask them first, because they're, number one, they're monster producers themselves in terms of annuities.
Yeah.
But also, I want to give them the respect. If they say, yeah, I'll help you out with it, no problem. I have no issues with that whatsoever. But, if they say like, yeah, that's cool, just go ahead and use them, then, at that point, then I'll help
Now,
with illustration.
what kind of commission split do you do if you help an agent?
Yeah. Well, when you asked me to help out with this thing, I was honored to have the opportunity, but you said 10% split, which I think is more than fair, because the thing is, I don't want to take money away from the agent. I want them to.
But
Make as
FFL's
much money.
comp is so high,
Right.
it's nothing.
Right.
Even the annuity comp, it's so fair.
Yeah.
Dude, if I had this when I started, there was a lot of times I made zero commission because I couldn't close the deal.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I've had agents that said like, you deserve more. Like, let's give you a bigger split. I'm like,
And you
"No,
should take it.
I don't, because I just want the agent to make money. I just want them to learn how to do this process, because it helps everybody win. If everyone has this to supplement what they're doing in terms of their simplified issue business with their life and their final expense and the mortgage, that's the way to go. So, but
Okay, so what do? You help them run an illustration.
yeah. So it depends what stage they're at. So I'll just have a conversation with them. If they've already picked up the illustration from either they called Athene or they went to ask a specialist on FFLAMS.com. If they've done that, then I'll just help them from that point forward. Sometimes they'll just give me the statement, they'll send me a picture of it, they'll email it to me. I'll run an illustration for them. I'll game plan with them ahead of time if they want to. I'll say, here's how you can present it if you choose to, or you can let me know what time the appointment is. I'll block out that time, and I'll make myself available. You can throw me on speakerphone if you like. So I'm flexible with that, because I know some people want to have an attempt to go out and try to present it themselves first, and they can always call me with questions after the fact or during that time. Or some people are just like, I really have no clue what I'm doing right now. It would really help me if you just let me know if you're going to be available. I'll get in the home. I'll do the warm up, and then I'll put speakerphone on.
Oh, so you actually help them in
Present
the phone,
all the way through.
present
So I'll
the
say,
whole
let's
thing.
go to this page. Let's go to this page. Let's look at this right now. I'll keep the client interactive. I'll ask them some questions like, hey, what does it say on this page here for me? And then, this way we can go through the whole process. I'll walk them all the way through to closing it, to doing the application, and then go from there.
And that's helpful. That works.
It's helped a lot of people, because during the process, people will call me after the appointment's done, and they'll say like, yeah, just by listening to you, I think I picked up a lot. I think I know how to do it from this point forward, which
Yeah.
is my goal.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. Thanks for helping all those agents.
I love it. It's been fun, because you get to meet a lot of people. You get to see, and you kind of put you back in that place where you're like, when I was learning, I didn't really know what to do and how to even get started, and then just to have somebody kind of walk you through the whole process. If it gets you more sales and helps build your business, I think it's great.
That's awesome. Cool, dude. All right, so quick recap. Use a financial inventory to book an appointment to come back. It's not weird to them if it's not weird to you. David Allen, your trial closing before you even come back and making them feel really good about what they did, which is what I always did in the home. So if I met with a husband and wife, I would tell the husband that it's a breath of fresh air to have someone that cares about their family, because I see people all the time. They don't want to spend any money to protect their family. They'd rather buy a 36-pack of beer every week And if something happens, let their wife and kids figure it out. It's really awesome to see. So it's like the same thing that I would do for life insurance that you're doing with annuities,
Exactly.
which is genius and true. They should feel good for doing that on both of those scenarios.
Right.
And then we have Albert, who can help an agent if somebody needs help on our team. Get on the phone, and somebody can get on the phone with anybody and do this. If someone needs help, they can get on the phone with their upline. They can get on the phone with anyone who's willing to help them, and get these annuities pushed through and placed. With that being said, I think that was awesome. That was even informative for me. I haven't been in the field for a few months, and I'm like, man, I forgot some of this stuff. So thank you for sharing. I'm looking forward to, having a record year with people. If they write 2 annuities a month, what is the income that could put in their pocket?
Just on entry level, 2 annuities a month. Let's say
10,000?
Well, let's say it's a 100,000 annuity. Opening comp's about 4.5, so they're making $9,000. So it's an extra $100,000 a year in their pocket.
$100,000 a year, 2 annuities a month, no brainer. Cool. Thanks
No-brainer.
for getting on. Thank you for having us, AMS Live.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.